What is the optimal arrow speed? This video could absolutely stir up some debate, and I'm okay with that, but there is a correct answer to this. I'm sure some of you are already typing in the comments telling me how wrong I am and it's subjective and blah, blah, blah. There is a right answer to this, and that answer is about 270 to 280 feet per second. But don't turn the video off just yet. I'll explain why. A key concept here is that every projectile has an optimal speed at which they fly. Basically, every single projectile in the world, whether it's a baseball, a bullet, a dart, a javelin, you name it, there is an optimal speed at which that projectile is going to fly most accurately with the best flight characteristics, and arrows are no different. For any of you out there that do your own reloading, you'll know that when you have a load that you're developing, you're slowly going to increase powder until you start to see a decrease in accuracy from that bullet. You're trying to find the optimal speed that that bullet can fly down to basically the foot per second. In archery, we don't have quite that level of precision just because our gear is much slower, but there is an optimal speed, and that tends to be around 270 to 280 feet per second. Once you get past that, anything you put on the front and back end can start to have a planing effect on the arrow. Now, not always, and there's a lot of factors in play here. If you have no helical or no offset on your arrows, of course, there's going to be less of a planing effect. But also, if you have like a 3-degree helical on a 3-fletch blazer arrow, you go back to 100 yards, you're going to see that arrow twists to the right and down. And the faster you push that, the more that's going to happen. So it's really important that we keep our arrow in a speed range that is optimal for accuracy. Speed, FOC, arrow weight, whatever, all that stuff aside, accuracy is the number one thing. And I want you to shoot an arrow that is going to fly to its fullest potential and be as accurate as it possibly can be. And you're going to see that accuracy in that 270 to 280 foot per second range. Now, of course, I know some of you are going to say, I shoot 300 feet per second and I shoot unbelievably accurate. That's great, and it does happen. But this is a general rule for most archers. My bow, I have it at 282 foot per second. It couldn't be more accurate. I'm just thrilled with that setup. If I'm in the process of an arrow build and I chronograph my arrow and I find that I'm at 290, for example, I might go shoot it and see how it shoots. But in general, I want to slow it down a little bit, and I'm going to do that by adding front end weight. So that brings us to the golden rule of arrow building, which is you should shoot the heaviest arrow you can that keeps your arrow in that 270 to 280 foot per second range. And that's exactly how I want you to attain this. I don't want you to lower your draw weight just to get in that range if you're over 280 feet per second. I want you to have a high draw weight if you can handle it. I want you to shoot your full draw length. If you're a 31-inch draw archer, I want you to shoot that. But I want you to compensate for that speed and that power by increasing your arrow weight. You're going to have a heavier arrow flying in the optimal speed range that penetrates better and is naturally going to be built of better materials because you're going to be using an aftermarket insert. You're going to be getting away from aluminum. You're probably going to use a thicker walled high GPI arrow like the Arrow from Tooth of the Arrow. There is no downside. I know there's a lot of speed freaks out there who think I'm crazy and you want to shoot a 420 grain arrow at 320 feet per second. I think that's a bad idea. I think it can be a lot of fun. I think if you're a target archer or a 3D archer, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when we're talking about real world hunting, shooting animals, and trying to punch an arrow through a thick animal body, in worst case scenarios, when you might accidentally hit a shoulder, having a little bit of extra arrow weight and having optimal flight character that gets your arrow to that animal in a perfectly straight line is essential. There's no way around that. So tell me, what is your arrow speed? Do you find that your arrows perform optimally at a certain speed? Do you think I'm totally out to lunch? Whatever it is, I'm open to hear it. Let me know in the comments and I'll reply back to you on an episode of the Let Off Podcast. That's where I take all the really good comments and questions and discussion that I bring up and we get going on this channel. I'll bring it up in detail and respond to you over there on the Let Off Podcast. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your comments, and be sure to subscribe.